face of crime in America is the face of the minor offender.
I'm sorry, but I get my check tomorrow.
He's afraid we're going to charge him for being a vagrant.
The alcoholic, the vagrant, the prostitute, the very young who have committed their first offense against society, the petty thief, the husband who can't or won't support his family, the mentally ill, the retarded, the public nuisance, the sexual deviant, the shoplifter, the gamblers, the weak, the inadequate, the aged and the poor who have no place to eat or sleep. The list is too long to complete. They are all those who commit what we define as a minor offense. They are called in the jargon of our age the misdemeanant. Apprehended by a vigilant law enforcement procedure, they are brought before the bar of justice to be charged with a variety of petty crimes. They are then sent through a revolving door of crime and punishment in which hundreds of thousands of them will spend their lives. These are our lower courts, so-called because they handle minor offenses. Each year in the United States, there are 5 million arrests for minor crimes. Over 90% of all the nation's criminal cases are heard here in the lower courts in an atmosphere scarcely consistent with the effective administration of justice.
Sir, do you realize that this is the 7th time you've been before us in the last 3 months? 7th time you've been arrested. You're before the court at this time, charging you with violating Section 823 relating to prostitution.
An officer does not know the difference between intoxication and medication.
Most lower court judges are provided with no meaningful information about the offender. They have no pre-sentence reports upon which to base their sentence. Most of our lower courts offer no probation service. The more serious offender, the felon, can be placed on probation. For the minor offender, it is a choice of fine or jail or both. For those few lower courts that do have a probation service, the caseload is often 10 times higher than that recommended by the President's Crime Commission. With a caseload of over 350, the probation officer has no time to assist the probationer, and under these circumstances, it is hopeless to expect protection for the community. Too often the case rests on police testimony. Rarely are defendants able to pay for an attorney. In some cities, 50 human beings are brought before the bench as a group. They all plead guilty, and a sentence of $30 or 30 days is imposed on all. The prosecutor often can only take a quick look at a police report a moment before trying the case. The defense attorney or a public defender often meets his client just a few minutes before the case comes to trial. The hours wasted in the crowded court by the police reduces their time spent as law enforcement officers on the job. The judge, facing an increasingly crowded calendar, has little choice but to dispose of the cases before him as rapidly as possible. In some cities, over 25,000 misdemeanor cases a year are handled by a single judge. This is production line justice, and it accomplishes nothing. The vicious, wasteful cycle continues. Arrest, detention, trial, jail, release, arrest, and so on. A revolving door of futility and despair.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty.
I guess I plead guilty.
From the crowded maelstrom of our lower courts, the minor offender is shuttled on to the next stop on the road to oblivion, the jail. Today, the jail is the most overlooked, forgotten, and ignored of our correctional institutions. And yet the jail must handle 35 times as many persons as do all our state and federal prisons. Many cities spend more money on their municipal cemeteries than they do on their jails. There are over 3,100 county and city jails, and through their gates pass each year over 3.5 million men, women, and children. The jail has two traditional functions: to confine those whom the courts have sentenced to a short term of imprisonment, usually less than a year, and to hold those awaiting trial. More than half of all our jails are over 50 years old. Many have been in use for more than a century. Inside these walls, the jail is a study in futility. In an atmosphere of idleness, there is time only for deterioration, for talking and learning more about crime, time to become more degraded, and to lose what remaining self-respect a person may have. The jail offers nothing of value and much that is destructive. It is a fertile breeding ground for the criminal. The capacity of our jails can range all the way from a single cell or tank to a large city jail confining over 3,500 people. The conditions vary from the overcrowded mass urban jails to the dark, unsanitary hell of the small local jail. Today, the cost of operating our jails is over $148 million. And in return for this sum, society receives little or nothing in benefit. In the mistaken belief that the time of detention is too short for any program to be effective, the overwhelming majority of our jails are simply places of custody offering nothing in the way of treatment and the opportunity for rehabilitation. Thus, the minor offender who can benefit the most from treatment receives the least. Here will begin the criminal education of tens of thousands of adolescents and the indoctrination of the young into habitual and professional careers of crime. Last year alone, 88,000 juveniles were confined in our jails. Here, hundreds and thousands of people will spend weeks and even months awaiting trial and then be judged not guilty. The defendant with means can afford to pay bail. He can afford to buy his freedom. The poorer defendant cannot pay the price. He stays in jail for one reason only, because he is poor. The time within these walls cannot be measured or evaluated. The day-to-day environment in which the prisoner must live is corroded with the ingredients of human degradation. Most jail personnel are guards with a purely custodial attitude. The conditions under which most prisoners eat are an affront to human dignity and put added pressure on the prisoner. In our small jails, eating conditions are often worse. Over 90% of all our jails are operated by sheriffs. Elected every 2 or 4 years, most of them lack the knowledge to plan and promote a more effective program. They are often paid a per diem fee for each prisoner. The sheriff's wife is paid a flat fee for each meal served. The fee system is obsolete and self-defeating. No public official should depend for his income on the number of times he turns the key in a lock or the number of meals he feeds a prisoner. Recreational facilities, where they exist at all, are poor and the opportunity for physical exercise limited. The visiting conditions in most jails make a mockery of human dignity. Crowded into a small area, unable to hear each other above the din, the brief visiting time so important in maintaining close family ties is wasted and only increases the sense of futility.
I'll have 60 days and you know. That's why I'm saying
The last thing I remember, they were giving me this medicine, Therosine or something. Huh? She's trying to. They don't pay attention to you. You think you're just another patient.
These conditions make visiting a punishment and impose a needless cruelty on wives, parents, and children. Many persons confined in a jail refuse to permit members of their family to visit them. The jail, the forgotten institution, essentially unchanged for over a century, growing more crowded with each passing day, effective only as a school for crime. This, in the age of enlightenment, is the portrait of our jails. Are there any real alternatives? Or must we accept the endless turn of a revolving door that opens onto nothing, that leads directly to nowhere? There are beginnings. A great percentage of those arrested for minor crimes need never enter our courts. They can be offered treatment by the community that will be far more effective than imprisonment. In some of our major cities, there are pilot programs that intercept the alcoholic, the vagrant, the drug addict, and the mentally ill before they come in contact with the law. They can be offered hospital treatment, and under the supervision of psychiatrist and social worker, the process of rehabilitation can begin.
Can you tell me a little bit about when you started drinking?
Well, I started when I was going to school in Virginia. I was going to military school. I was 12 years old when I had my first drink.
How did that come about?
Well, everybody was doing it, and I was curious about it.
Very good, thank you. How long have you been in New York?
Since 1947.
Since 1947. Now, you were always able to get work.
Yeah.
And are you married?
Yeah, I was. I'm divorced now. We separated in 1958. I was just divorced the other day.
First case to be discussed is Charles Hudson, age 50, Caucasian, Protestant, and single. He was
Based on the concept that alcoholism is an illness and not a crime, this type of program is a small first step to diverting from our crowded courts and jails the over 2 million people arrested each year for drunkenness.
At which time he began to drink wine.
Is there any brain damage?
Not that I can really recall. His memory is pretty good, and I don't see any evidence of real severe brain damage, no.
So physically, he's up to any disposition we can make for him.
Currently, there is no comprehensive program dealing with the alcoholic, the drug addict, or others whose needs cannot be effectively met within our system of justice. Within the courts themselves, we must also be able to offer an alternative to jail.
Here before the court this morning pursuant to a complaint which has been filed with this court relating to prostitution. This offense is alleged to have occurred at 1729 Curtis Street in this city on the 27th of this month. I'd like to ask you at this time if you are prepared to enter a plea on this charge. And what plea do you propose to enter?
Guilty.
Now, the court is going to want a pre-sentence report on this case. As you know, you are also being...
We know for the most part that a jail sentence offers nothing constructive for the offender and promises much that will destroy the delicate fabric of a life.
In the meantime, I'm going to have you go through what we call the court diagnostic clinic. If you'll take the slip that has been placed in front of you, and then if you'll report to one of the staff members at the desk in the extreme rear of the courtroom, you'll be directed from there.
A strong and effective probation service must be able to supply information upon which an intelligent decision can be made. It must be a probation service staffed and equipped to provide both pre-sentence reports and high-level professional supervision. This particular court has proven the effectiveness of a diagnostic clinic that within 24 hours can provide the judge with basic information that will enable him to make an intelligent, thoughtful disposition of the case. When such services are available, the record demonstrates a dramatic reduction in repeat offenders. This clinic includes psychological and vocational testing and a psychiatric interview.
Anything besides run away?
No, I couldn't get along with my stepmother, and I wouldn't stay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sorry I went up there.
It was better than home?
Yeah, and I learned a lot up there. I really did.
What'd you learn?
I don't know, just a lot about life. And it's really not a bad place to go to.
Can you tell me something of what you learned about life?
Well, that's kind of a dumb question, because you just learn how to grow up and live with people.
Somebody told me you had a baby that you were concerned about.
Yes, I do. He's 3 months old.
Testing indicates an independent, self-reliant person with a good self-opinion. She was vehement in her stating that she wouldn't and hadn't thought of relinquishing the baby. However, her ability to...
Based on the information gathered by a professional staff, the process of rebuilding a life begins.
I think she's got a lot on the ball, a lot of ability. She's an attractive kid. And I'm all in favor of trying to supervise her and hoping that we can make her amount to something rather than being a pretty good crook if things keep up.
Okay, let's think in terms of a suspended sentence, recommending probation supervision, and when we get her, then assign her to a volunteer counselor.
Okay, fine.
That sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that anybody would like to suggest? Okay, that's what it'll be then.
Under the circumstances, I'm going to place you on probation for a period of 1 year. A probation counselor will be assigned to you, who will be a citizen of this community, who will take a special interest in your life, and I would think in the life of your child. You will be required to report regularly to this person who will be assigned. I must let you know that any failure to report or to keep appointments will result in a warrant for your arrest.
First of all, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of the...
In a few cities widely separated, volunteers from the community have been successfully employed in the counseling and treatment of the offender. One of the most revealing factors in a study of misdemeanor cases indicates that in the lives of most offenders, there has never been a single satisfactory relationship with another human being.
What we're saying is that you have a place in the network of correctional services that is important. And what we're saying to you is that in some cases, you can perhaps reach offenders quicker and maybe better than...
The volunteer trained by the court gives a minimum of 1 hour a week to a single offender.
I suppose you've been told all about that.
He brings with him only himself, a record of achievement within a normal world, and offers the offender a chance to build a healthy relationship.
I've been kind of curious about this. And what do you actually get out of this?
Well, really nothing, if you're thinking of money, but we get the satisfaction of helping someone else.
In most of our lower courts, there would have been no alternative. This 18-year-old girl would have been sent on to jail to serve a short sentence. There she would be quickly educated in a life of crime. She would then be returned to the community more deeply trapped in the criminal life, more dangerous to herself and to us. The burden on our courts can be reduced. The courts themselves can offer alternatives to imprisonment that are designed to rehabilitate the minor offender. Finally, the jail itself must be radically changed. A few jails, widely separated throughout our nation, have begun to provide decent housing. The conditions under which men and women live under supervision must reflect the highest standards of a humane and just society. The great majority of men and women need not live in cages to ensure the safety of that society. Attitudes within the jail must undergo a revolutionary change.
This is full of valves and springs. You must take great care when you take it apart. It's very important that these all go back the same as they come out.
Do we do any repair work on these?
The jail must offer an advanced and sophisticated program of training designed to give something of value to those who must spend time within these walls. Correctional personnel must have the training, background, and time to consider each prisoner as an individual and to offer a variety of programs to meet a variety of needs.
Rotation. So when you put it back together, you just reverse your rotation.
As the present situation is now, my wife is working, but she has my second daughter, who is 19 and in her second year of nurses' college. And the problem there is my daughter would like to quit school and help support the home. And
work release programs must be available to selected short-term offenders so they may continue to support their families, develop work skills, and compete in today's world.
Financing. And it's a pretty rough situation at the present time on my wife, who has had to assume the whole financial burden alone.
He makes no excuses regarding the present offense, faces up to the ramifications, but he indicates that he was undergoing tremendous financial strains, and we feel as though his request to be placed on a work release program would be an attempt to assist his wife and to lend some moral support to the family situation.
The offender leaves the jail at the start of the workday. He is provided an opportunity to learn a skill that will give him the chance to pursue a productive life upon his release. He works and learns on the job within the community with men and women to whom someday he must return. Many employers have said that offenders in the work release program make as good or better employees as any they have ever had. Group counseling within the institution can provide needed support to ease the transition back to the community.
I think he's had some problems with authority in the past. Maybe we couldn't go along with the way this was handled entirely.
most people down there do have quick tempers, and something happens, you bust them in the mouth. That's it. You walk away. And this is something more or less that Tommy has talked about, things like this. And then, so he said that he has a quick temper.
Has anybody else got an idea how they would have handled it different?
Call in, get out of there, and then let the institution either straighten it out. If the institution can, much better than blowing the whole thing.
No, I believe it's better to stay on the job than, coming back in here, but I mean...
You would have been better off just said what, ignored anything derogatory the man had to say to him and try to settle it either through the institution or with the supervisor.
The best thing would be to do would be come in, let the institution, let the owners or the foreman settle it. Otherwise, it's causes friction with the institution, causes friction with the job.
Many of you get the feeling that people are bending over backwards to be nice to you? As a matter of fact, that I'm very pleasant in my job. The foremen get along with me. I get along with them all. They treat me very nice. In my section, I have no complaint whatsoever. They really treat me nice.
All these efforts are but small beginnings. We have not yet scratched the surface of the problems posed by the minor offender. We must begin now. In a program to divert from our already crowded courts those who do not belong in our system of criminal justice. In the courts themselves, where there must be time to provide a careful judicial approach to each individual case, and where a variety of alternatives to imprisonment can be offered. And in the jail. In thousands upon thousands of cells in countless jails, we are confronted with the bleak evidence of waste. Waste of our most precious resource, the human life. Change is possible. The door need not revolve forever.
You think I was gone killing? Yeah, I get it. I ain't got no. No. That's all. That's just a fact. Oh, the honey, oh my God. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's it. I got no
What made you get out of the football?
Come on, man. You all right? Come on, man. Are we close? Yeah.